Okay, just a little bit of housekeeping before we start. Your work, please PDF, right? Save it first as a PDF, and remember you want to save it on your desktop and keep it there till the end of the semester, right? Don't end up, because sometimes they get lost, and then you want to have proof that you did it, right? So save it as a PDF on your desktop, and then you drag it into the folder. A number of you still not doing the assignments. I'm gonna say some names. Alonso, where is Alonso? Alonso, yes, what happened?
So I had gotten confused with the questions that we're reading. I was looking for the questions, and then I looked back at your lecture where you said 2 questions.
Yes.
3 critiques.
Yes. So you know
that
what
was
to
like
do.
earlier, like. So
Okay.
But I did the audio question.
Yes, correct. Okay, good. So that's good. Let's see. Who else? Grzejewski. What happened to your work? Your reading assignment, your audio question?
You didn't get it?
No? Okay, so we need, you sent it?
It might have gotten stopped. I was in Vegas when I did the work, so I might
Fixed
not
it.
have internet.
Okay, so stay after class so I can look at, so we can look at this, okay?
I
So,
don't have it anywhere on my phone. It will be on my computer.
okay, good. So email me about it so I know you did it and we can talk about it. Next time, can you bring your computers or just hand it in? Put it in the late papers. Yeah. Okay, good. And you got the audio and the reading assignment? Was good? You did both?
The audio?
Yes, the audio question. So that's the question, remember, on your syllabus. So remember, so this is good review, right? Remember that before you even start reading the text, right, you want to listen to the introductory lecture that I make for every single new book. There's an introductory lecture, right? You listen to that and you do the question that's at the end of your syllabus, audio questions, right? Every time you have a new reading, you have a question, and that's what you do for about from half a page to a whole page, single spaced. You answer that question like a test question based on the recording of the. So does that make sense? Okay. Yes.
Audio question is not every week. Only reading assignment is every week.
Exactly.
Okay.
Audio question is only each time we start a new book, which is basically every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Right. So everybody clear on the audio question? Because I'm missing a lot of those too. So you're clear now, Gwiaździński? Okay, good. Awesome. Let's see. Jimbo, what happened? Okay. You just landed. Okay, good. Do you know what to do?
Yeah.
Oh, and you know to listen to what you missed on the recorded lectures, right? So the first lecture we did last time, you need to listen to it because that's all the guidelines, and that's on Blackboard. You go to recorded lectures and boom, you access the playlist. Make sense? Okay. Good. Hayumov, what happened?
I didn't get the book yet. I'm getting it.
Oh, that's right. Like you mentioned it. Okay. Lynn, what happened? Where's Lynn? Lynn. Are you confused still? Do you need? Did they explain? Did you guys explain it to her? Okay, good. All right, Mahmoud, what happened? Did they explain it to you? Okay. Meneses, I'm missing your. Wait, no, you did it. And okay, hold on. Nivesila, you're good. Everybody seems okay. Okay, and then Zairuddin, what happened?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was kind of confused, but because I didn't get no notifications on Blackboard.
Oh, okay.
But they told me about it, so I see it, and I didn't search that by all on the textbook.
Okay.
All I have to do is watch the video
Okay.
and ask the question.
Very good. All right, we're good. So remember, right? Normally I don't accept late audio question or late reading assignment, but this time, exceptionally, I will accept the audio question because I need you to listen to that lecture and also need you to figure out how to know that you know how to do the audio question. So those who didn't do the audio question, you can hand it in next time. You can still do that, so you have the option to do that. So make sure you listen to the recorded lecture that is on our playlist. This is the introduction to Solomon or to the Song of Songs, whatever. Listen to that, you do the audio question and you hand it in. the following did not do sufficient audio questions. So you did part of it, but feels like you're missing information. And so I'm giving you the option to redo it, right? Yes?
I was confused. The audio question, so I think I did like the wrong question.
Yes, you did, exactly, yeah.
I was gonna ask my computer.
Yeah, exactly, you can. Yes, you're on my list. So you know where it is now, right? It's at the back of the syllabus. Okay, great. So the following need to redo. Alonso, where are you? Yes, you did 3/4. You're missing some information. So go back and fill that in. Meneses, where are you? Meneses. You have to try to add to, you're missing some information too on your audio question. Udeocho, okay. Nievesela, same thing. Can you redo it? Osorio, likewise, you know what you're missing? Yes. Some of you, I feel like, I get the sense you're listening to half of it and then trying to answer. You can't do that. Make sure you listen to the whole thing. Might not be you, I'm not saying it's you, but make sure you listen to the whole thing and then you answer the question and you answer it seriously as though it were a test question, right? In the future, if it's not sufficient, I simply won't count it. You won't even know, right? Today, I'm very careful. I'm showing you this is what I need. This is not enough. So if you're one of those people who is not enough, make sure that next time you do enough, because I won't even tell you. I just won't count it. It'll just fall, right? I think that's it. Okay. Yes, reading assignments, please. Single spaced. All your work, single spaced, okay? All right, any questions on housekeeping? Good. All right, great. Let's get into the text. Look at my watch. Great. Okay. All right. So today we're going to look at two things. So two sections I'm going to work on. The first one is entitled Sensuality and Discretion. I'm going to spell discretion because some of you don't know what that word is. So D-I-S-C-R-E, T-I-O-N, discretion. Anybody know what discretion means? It's the same in Spanish. So Spanish speaking people, you should know this. What is discretion? Where are my Spaniards? Sorry. Go ahead.
Damn, I'm thinking about another word in Spanish. Like to do it without drawing attention.
Yes, right. Reserved, shy, quiet, not drawing attention to yourself, kind of reserved, right? That's discretion. Right? So first thing we're going to talk about is sensuality and discretion. Second thing we're going to talk about is uncertainty and commitment. So those are the two things we'll talk about today. Yes. Yeah. First topic we'll talk about is sensuality and discretion. And the second topic will be uncertainty and commitment. So those are the two things we're going to look at in the text. Let's see what we can learn from the text. Okay. So as we enter this text, I'm sure you noticed, and I was overhearing your conversations, right? Some of you were like, wow, this is like really like a free, right? These lovers are very free for biblical lovers, right? We don't expect biblical lovers to act like this, right? Biblical lovers supposed to be, she's supposed to be veiled. They're supposed to be in the father's house. They're not supposed to be touching until marriage. Right? These guys, they're all over each other, right? And they, they go off to remote places together. I don't know if you noticed, but she takes him to the countryside, right? Now, what are they doing there? It's certainly not just, you pick. It's a lot more going on in the countryside. So she's isolating this guy, and they're free to do whatever they want. And they have a lot of freedom, right, with each other that we don't expect neither in biblical culture or in patriarchal culture. This is unusual, right? And so the author, however, it's interesting, even though he's a biblical author, seems to be on the side of the lovers, right? Seems to be kind of celebrating that crazy, reckless love that they're in, right? I mean, we would expect, honestly, when I read this, if I was a biblical author, I would write this and be like, yes, but look, in the end, you see, they were too forward, they were too quick, and now look, their relationship is ruined, right? That's what we're taught, right? If you move too fast, if you don't follow the rules, you're going to ruin everything. It's not the case in this particular text. They're moving very fast, they're very reckless, they're very promiscuous, and yet at the end, they end up with a love as strong as death, right? So the author here is very interesting, very unbiblical of our author, seems to be siding with these guys against the dominant culture of patriarchy. Seems to be saying, ooh, this is a beautiful love, right? The way that he embellishes it with poetry, all the beautiful descriptions. The author is really on the side of those two kids saying, I love the way they love each other, right? You can sense that the author is excited and is really embellishing this relationship of these two very reckless kids loving each other against all the rules, right? Breaking all the rules, very promiscuous, very intimate, doing all kinds of things they shouldn't be doing in the context of patriarchy. And yet our author, even as a biblical author, is like, yeah, I love these guys. Let me just embellish their love with poetry, right? So that's the first thing we see. And so we feel almost like it is an invitation, right? As though the author is inviting us to love in that way, right? Love, don't hold back. Give everything, right? Just love recklessly. Be madly in love. We're going to learn with Rumi, who's coming next, right? Be madly in love. And yet at the same time, and this is interesting, in our text, same author, we have this voice occurring 3 times, right? 3 times. Excuse me, yes? Has anyone lost their phone? Anybody? Can anyone recognize the phone? You want me to pick it?
No, I just want to
Okay. Drew, I don't think anyone has lost their phone here, right? Right. So
Okay.
you don't. It's on you. Okay, good. Okay. At the same time, right, that we have this kind of crazy love going on that the author is celebrating. We have this voice coming up 3 times, which is a direct contradiction with everything that we read in the text. Can anyone tell me what is this voice? Is the woman speaking 3 times? She says the same thing like a warning. There's a warning in the text. Can anyone tell me? And it goes against everything we've just seen. Yes, oh, sorry.
I don't remember the exact words, but it's like, don't dive into love unless you're sure you can handle it.
Exactly, not quite, but yeah, that's the idea. Right there. This is a famous text. You want to quote it exactly, Ramos?
Oh, no, I just want to continue.
Okay. So the text, right? Daughters of Jerusalem, I beseech you, do not awaken or arouse love until it is ready. 3 times we have this, right? I'll give you the references: chapter 2, verse 7, chapter 3, verse 5, chapter 8, verse 4. Same voice over and over again. She's saying, right? We know from the text we should love recklessly, don't hold anything back, be crazy. And at the same time, she's saying, don't hold back, be discreet, don't give everything, right? So there's a contradiction, right? And so many scholars have debated, have struggled over this contradiction. And some scholars even said, this is a later scribe who came in and added this because he just was so uncomfortable with the atmosphere of promiscuity. But we're not going to take that route because it is complete speculation. I'm going to act like the text is in contradiction with itself, or maybe is actually telling us something very profound about love. So I'm going to ask you now, what is the author trying to say when he says, on the one hand, give yourself, don't hold back, be reckless, be crazy. And on the other hand, be careful, hold back, don't love, wait. Okay, so what is he saying? Is it one or the other? You can't do both. Either you love or you wait, right? How can we put these 2 voices together and what can we learn? So I'm going to listen to all of you. So we'll start with you. Yes.
I think you're trying to say that it's okay to love, but it's not okay to rush into things.
Okay, so one very good word of advice. And by the way, there are many ways to interpret this, right? So one very excellent advice. It's good to love fully, but take your time, take it slow. That's good advice. Very good. Epstein?
Wait for the right moment. Once that right moment has come, don't jump in too early. Once that right moment has come, then jump in with full force.
Okay.
Don't go halfway.
All right.
But you have to wait to the opportune moment. Don't jump in too early. And if you do jump in, don't do it in half measures.
Very good. Okay, so just wait for the right moment. Notice that this girl's not doing any of these things, right? but she's saying it, right? Very good. Yes.
Maybe the contradiction is like, it's okay to like be in love, but like don't be so blindly in love that you don't see like if it's hurting you or if it's
Okay. Although again, right, she's hurt throughout the relationship. I don't know if you noticed. This is hardcore. She can be pretty. I mean, there are moments where she's really hurt and really suffering, and then there's moments where so all of this is do what I say, not what I do type thing, right? Seems like she's not waiting for the right moment. She's always being hurt, right? But still, there's we need to see how can we hear it together. You guys are doing good. See, go ahead.
Maybe just like waiting for the right person rather than waiting for the right moment.
Oh, okay. So waiting for the right moment, waiting for all very good advice. Let's have a couple more before I come back to you. Yes, in the back. Oh, okay. So you're saying you should always have this doubt. It's always there. So you're in it, but you're not quite in it. But then you're in it. So you're sensing that she's hesitating, maybe because she's not sure. Okay, that's interesting. I see that. That's good. No.
Maybe it could be about the hypocrisy of it, saying that this character who loves so quickly and so fully, right, is telling you who don't do that. Maybe it's about how love isn't like that. You can't choose when and where it happens, or how fast you fall, or how passionate you are.
Okay, good, right? She's saying be careful, but she's unable to. Right? She's just thrown in this thing. She's and maybe love is like that. Maybe we should accept that. Very good. This is all good. Anybody else before I go back to I forgot your name. Go ahead, yes.
I'm not sure, but I believe that love has a limit. So you can't show too much love and you can't show a little love. You gotta first understand and acknowledge the person before you believe in love, I guess.
Okay, good. You're going where I'm gonna go. So nice. Excellent. Go ahead.
I don't know if it's true, but like give love, but both partners should like be like work equally towards it. It shouldn't be like one person loves the person more than the other. Just work with it together.
Okay, good. Although in this text we're going to see she loves him more until chapter 5. Then it flips. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, great. This is all great. I hope you guys wrote this down. This is all legitimate advice you can draw from this text. Here's what I'm going to draw from the text. I think this text is teaching us about the art of seduction. Right? We hear a lot about the art of seduction. There's a whole book written on the art of seduction. And usually in our culture, the art of seduction is how can I get this person? How can I find a way to, seduce them so that they can be mine? What are the steps I should take so that I can catch this person, right? This is a very different art of seduction. We're going to see this is more an art of seduction, which is about being magnetic instead of being aggressive, right? There's aggressive art of seduction that we learn, and then there's magnetic art of seduction. I think she's going to teach us something very profound about how to seduce, how to attract, how to magnetize your beloved. So here's how I would define the art of seduction. The art of seduction is the art of giving of yourself a little at a time. Never too soon, never too much, pacing yourself. So you're fully there, but you're revealing only a little bit at a time. This is technique. This is not that your heart's not in it, it's that you are being artful about the whole thing, right? So let me give you a few examples. Let me say it one more time. The art of seduction is the art of giving of yourself a little at a time. Here are some examples of how we mess this up. So here's an example I had when I was sitting in a coffee shop, and there was a couple right behind me. So it's not like I was eavesdropping. I was like on the first, first seat, right? To listen to everything they were saying. So I'm listening. I don't see them yet. It's a man and woman. And the woman is talking and talking and talking. And I know everything about this woman by the end of the hour. Like I know about her friends, her mom, her dysfunctional dad. I know about her school, her work, her horrible coworkers. I know everything about this woman. And then I figured, like, let me turn around and look at this couple. So I turn around, very nice couple. And the guy, he's just nodding, very sweet guy, right? And so then I start imagining them going home, right? Separately, obviously, first date. So she goes home. What do you think she's going to say about this guy? Well, I don't know if I would say that. It's Is what? Yes, like Ramos. What an amazing guy, no? He's listening to her. He's just there. She can say everything she wants to say. Okay, let's go to the other side. This guy goes home. What is he gonna say?
Talks a lot.
Oh my God, I'm so exhausted from this woman. Like I don't even feel like seeing her again. I'm exhausted. I need 5. This is what, by the way, if you wonder why the guy texts you 5 days after the date, ask yourself how much you spoke during that date, right? This guy gonna need 5 days to rest, right, from his exhaustion. So, and he's gonna text her in a week and she's gonna be devastated and probably, not going to, anyway. So this, notice, right? She's on a first date. Why are you telling him everything, right? You don't have to do that. You don't have to be, this is not a business transaction where you got to put your cards on the table. This is seduction. So reveal a little bit, hold back a little bit. Reveal a little bit, hold back a little bit. This goes on the level of conversation and on the level of physical intimacy. You don't want to go the first night and go and sleep with a person. Why? You want to leave a little, guys, tell me. I always, this is a tricky question. I always get different answers. So guys, what do you prefer? First night or waiting a little bit until maybe 4th, 5th month? What do you think?
Wait.
Waiting, why?
I feel like you should first get to know a person.
Okay, you want to get to know them. Why else? Why else? Why you want to, who wants to wait? The guys. Who wants to wait a little bit? Not too long, obviously, but a little bit, okay? Who doesn't want to wait? Oh. Why you don't want to wait, Saistudi?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
To be honest, I don't know. I just feel like the first date is when they express themselves the most. So I guess that's the perfect day.
The third day is when they express themselves the most. You have the mathematical computation. Third day. So that's when you want to. Okay. In general, though, the guys who said you want to wait, why is that? So we know why you want to wait.
I'm just gonna say what he says. You have to get to know a person.
Okay, want to get to know a person. Why else? There's other reasons too beyond getting to know the person. Go ahead. Okay, you don't want to ruin things by rushing it. Any other reason, right? Yes.
Something that can be special, but only with the right people.
Okay, so you want it to be special, so you want to wait. So listen, girls, I hope you're listening to these guys, right? This is really good information. Go ahead, Ron.
I will wait because like STDs and stuff. That's bad.
Oh, make sure this guy's clean. Okay, has time to go to the get a checkup. Okay, good. You notice a lot of guys when I ask them this, they say, "Well, it's not exciting if it's right away. I want it to be spread out, so it's like more exciting to wait, right?" So this is what we as women sometimes don't realize. We feel the pressure, especially in our civilization, to quickly do this, right? We want to wait sometimes, and we feel the pressure, and we don't realize that actually the guy also wants us to wait. Now, he doesn't want to wait necessarily 10 years, right? But there is some excitement in, kind of postponing a little bit. And this is part of the art of seduction. You give a little bit at a time, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you give a little bit at a time. Tonight, I give you this, then I go home, right? There's a beautiful song by, you don't know this, I'm not even gonna, my generation, my people, you guys are not gonna know this, I'm not gonna even quote it, but it's a song about a first kiss, like the woman is like, I just want to kiss tonight, and then I want to go, right, my own separate way, and I found this very beautiful, because sometimes we feel so pressured as women to just, get everything done, right, it's like, and when we don't realize is that seducing implies giving a little, and then going separate way. And then next time, again, a little more, and then give a little more each time, okay? Don't be like, scaring this guy. But you give a little bit, and you always wait, leave a little bit not given. This is what will keep the interest, right? Yes?
Is it because of the suspense?
The suspense, thank you. See, the guys are not like us. They love suspense. We hate it. We want everything to be clear right away. We want it down. We want the contract. We want the ring. The guys know they want the suspense, the challenge, the excitement, and it's just two worlds, right? So that's what we're learning here. Beautiful lesson, right? As a woman and as a man too, right? If you're a man, don't be the woman's best friend. Don't be sitting here spending all your time with her. Why? Right? You want her to be sick of you? I know some couples, they spend days together on the couch. Why? You want to ruin everything? And then after a while, they're so sick of each other, right? So, or how about this thing that we do a lot? We're texting all day, FaceTiming all day. Why? Right? Leave some time for the guy or the girl to miss you. Don't be always FaceTiming every 3 hours. Some of you do that. I know it. Right? I know this. Or you're texting, hey. No, he doesn't want to hear you, hey. You want some time to process, right? So all of these are ways that we give and give too much of ourselves, right? And what we're learning here is that love and seduction is an art. It's balance. You want to give a little and you want to control the rest. It takes, by the way, enormous self-control to not be constantly, hey, where are you? What you doing? You coming over? I haven't seen you in a while. I miss you. All of this you don't need to do, right? In seduction, it's very simple. If you have a doubt, here's what you need to think in your head. Less is more. That's the best advice I can give you in terms of seduction. Less is more. Less contacting, less speaking, less revealing, right? Less is more. If you can master this art, you will be incredibly seductive and magnetic, both man and woman, right? This is about really pacing yourself, right? Okay, beautiful, beautiful lesson that we get from this particular text. Now, I want to go into a darker side of this poem. This is the side dealing with commitment. Now, we've all been in relationships where one of the partners is ready and the other isn't, right? You're ready, you love the person, they've proved themselves to you, and they still have the nerve to not be ready. Like, why are they not ready when I'm ready, right? They're still, not sure, nebulous, asking themselves questions, confused. And at that moment, your friends will be like, yeah, dump them, right? They're not for you. We're gonna see here that the guy is like this in this text. Now, again, in this book, you can interchange, right? These people are, the man and the woman in this book, constantly switching roles. So anything I say about the guy, you can apply to the girl. This is when one of the partners is sure, when the other one isn't. And what do you do in that moment when you know, but they don't? How can you best behave as to favor the commitment, or make possible the commitment of the other person? Now, again, you cannot force this. I have always fantasized that I was a witch that could make love potions. Like, this is a deep fantasy in me, that I could make love potions and then sell them and use them, right? This is like a huge fantasy. We cannot do this. There are no love potions. You cannot force someone to fall in love with you or to commit to you, but there are certain steps you can take to create the atmosphere that will perhaps, or that will be the best possible atmosphere for them to commit. So this is what we're going to learn in this text. We're going to learn something very interesting about how to attract commitment. You cannot force commitment, but you can certainly attract it, and we're about to learn something very, very interesting. So look with me in the text. There are 3 passages. So I stumbled upon this idea. I was studying the text, and I stumbled upon 3 quotes that sounded kind of the same, but each time they were a little bit different. So I started to wonder, I wonder why the author is switching it a little bit. What's he trying to say? And as I studied the text, I stumbled upon this amazing piece of wisdom on how to attract commitment. So let's start with the first one. I'm on 2:16, chapter 2, verse 16. You have here a famous quote, "My beloved is mine." Everybody with me?
What page?
Just the chapter, 2:16, because everybody has different books right now. So you see in your text, you have chapters and verses. Everybody sees that? So chapter 2, verse 16 in the text. It's page 65. 2:16. Okay, everybody there? Wave at me if you're there. Okay. "My beloved is mine and I am his. He feasts in a field of lilies." Okay, so I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh, that's nice, right? She's saying in her heart, "My beloved is mine and I am his." Beautiful passage, by the way, engraved on wedding rings, right? In the Jewish tradition, they engraved this passage. And then I'm looking at him, oh, he's in the field of lilies. How nice. Maybe he's picking flowers for her. Maybe, he's just daydreaming about her. Actually, that's not what's going on. What do the lilies mean? Now, remember, he called her earlier. He called her my lily, right? Now, what's going on here? What are these lilies in the plural? What's happening? Anybody know? Yes. Yes, what kind of people? Yes, right. Other women. I didn't see this. It's a guy who pointed it out to me. I was reading this with a guy friend, and he's like, oh, check this out. He's cheating on her. I'm like, what? That can't be, right? So we don't know if he's cheating, but he's definitely playing the field. He's looking at least. The least case scenario is looking at other lilies. Worst case scenario. So best case scenario is looking. Worst case scenario, he's actually cheating. So this is very, very problematic, right? This is a dark moment in the text, and we start to see why this woman is so anxious, right? If you really read the text carefully, you will see that she's joyful, she's exuberant, but there's a heavy dose of anxiety in her love, right? So here's this guy. She is saying, my beloved is mine, I'm his, and he is, right, looking around, right? This is when your man starts to go on dating apps. This is when your man is like talking to someone else on the phone. This is when your man, or woman, right? We can flip it. This is when your partner is, maybe even sleeping with someone else, and here is the situation, and this is really, really dramatic, really painful, poignant situation. Now let's see what happens, right? This is the beginning. Let's go to the next passage, which is 6:3, chapter 6, verse 3. Let's see what happens. So chapter 6, verse 3, the translation is the same, but the Hebrew is different. In the Hebrew, you don't have my beloved is mine and I am his. You have actually something very different. You have I am my beloved's and he is mine. Make sure you write this thing down, right? So in the first moment we see them, it's my beloved is mine and I am his. Here she flips it. She says, I am my beloved's and he is mine. So there is a shift in her behavior, right? Something is shifting. I'm going to ask you about this in a second, right? Yes, Pam. Chapter 6, verse 3, page 91. Okay, so I am my beloved's and he's mine. And where's the guy? Still in the lilies. Still on the dating app. Still, calling in the middle of the night, talking to people you don't know. Still maybe not coming home at night, right? It's still bad. Okay, let's look at the last occurrence. This is chapter 7, verse 11. Sorry, yeah, chapter 7, verse 11. Same, okay, it's a little different in the English, but it's the same thing as the second one. I am my beloved's and he is mine. I am my beloved's and he is mine. And now where is the guy? What happened to the guy? What's going on with the guy here in our passage? What do you read? Okay, all of a sudden, no more lilies. And his whole attention, his whole love is on her. And so what I'm seeing here is that somehow, we don't know yet what she did, but somehow throughout this time span, this guy has committed to her and he is entirely into her. No more lilies, no more cheating, no more dating apps, no more night calls, right? Something happened. She got this guy to commit. And so my question to you is this: how did she do it? That's what I want to know. I'll give you enough indications. I gave you a lot of little clues as we were talking. There are two things she's doing that actually bring this man in full focus, brings his full attention to her. And again, we can flip it. There's something that you can do as a man to bring that woman completely into your sphere. So what did she do? Yes, Epstein.
Patience.
Where do you see that in the text?
Just the way the text is spaced out.
Oh, good.
She continues just to wait. She doesn't push. She doesn't.
Okay,
wait.
excellent.
She waits.
Yes, I like that. Okay,
And
that's the first.
Except her commitment. She doesn't.
Very good. Very good. I love it. Let me rephrase it and then I'll get you guys, right? First thing she does, Epstein is right. She is consistent. What he is doing is what he is doing, and what she is feeling is what she is feeling. In other words, she doesn't let her emotions be impacted, or her desire to be with the guy, or her commitment to the man. She doesn't let her commitment to the man be impacted by how he is acting. Her love is independent of his behavior. She is steadfast, she is confident, and like you're saying, she is consistent. She stays like that throughout. This is the first thing she does, very powerful. Takes a lot of guts to stay steady when the person is all over the place in your life. You're like, no, this is who I am. This is what I've decided. This is the commitment I've made. I'm in it. Whatever is going on, I'm sticking to it. This is who I am. This is a question of integrity. It has nothing to do with you. This is me. Are you following this first thing?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not enough, because you know what? This can become obsessive, right? Oh, babe, I love you. You know I love you. You know you're the only one for me. You know, there can be no one but you. And now here you are stalking the guy with your commitment. So this is not enough. It's not enough to be committed and steadfast, because you can become a stalker in your commitment, right? So there's something else she does, and this is the powerful cocktail, right, of things she's doing. What is the other thing she's doing? Yes. Very good. Wow, you guys are so good. Where do you see that in the text?
So in the first quote, she said, "My beloved is mine. My beloved is mine, and I am his." So they have this interpersonal connection, but she first prioritizes the fact that he is hers. And then the second one, "I am my beloved's, and he is mine." So the tone changes, and then towards the end, so on and so forth.
Okay, excellent, right? She's moving from my beloved is mine, like you're mine, and you have to stay here, you have to be with me, you have, right? This is her mindset, you're mine, I'm not gonna let you go. This is the stalking, obsessive mindset, right? Possessive. And then she switches. She's steadfast in her inner, right, attitude, but she switches to I am my beloved's, meaning I am now yours. You are not mine. I am yours, right? I surrender to the situation. I am not in control anymore, nor am I trying to be in control. I have lost my grasp on you. I am opening my hands and I am surrendering to whatever you choose to do, but I will not lose my own commitment. Now notice, all of this is internal. She's not going out telling him what she's thinking and what she's good. This is all inside of her. This is the combination of holding on and letting go, right? The ability to love while letting go. This is her secret. It's incredibly difficult to do. It takes a larger than usual heart, a deeper than usual capacity to love, to be able to love someone while letting go. And this is her genius. She loves the person. She is committed to them. She is consistent. She's not going to budge. But at the same time, she sets him free. She's able to let him do his thing and to hope for the best, right? Again, she cannot force him, but she can create the best conditions of possibilities for him to be attracted to her. And that's the cocktail. Let me say it again. It's the ability to juggle both. You hold on, you're steadfast, you're committed, and at the same time, you're releasing, you're surrendering, you're letting go. And that's what, in the end, I believe, brings this man right back to her. The ability to do both at the same time. Now, I see a couple questions. Yes, Epstein.
This looks a little bit like overcommitment. Because
Over what?
Overcommit. A little bit of an obsession, almost.
So yeah, this is.
Wouldn't that be dangerous?
But see, be careful. She's not obsessed because she's letting go, right? So at the same time, she's opening up to whatever comes, right? So if she was not letting go, yes, she would be obsessed.
She doesn't let go of him.
Yeah.
So most people would, and maybe they should.
That's true. I mean,
that's what I mean by overcommitment. She's overcommitted to him, and therefore she has to get. She's put all her chips on one thing.
This is
she's gambling.
Yes.
She won.
Yes, you have the right terminology.
There's no guarantee of that.
Thank you for pointing that. This is a huge risk you're doing, right? When you do this, if you choose to do this, some of us might not choose to do this. This guy's not worth it. Let me go my way, right? But if you choose to do it, it is a risk. It is a gamble. And you are putting all your apples in the same basket. But this is the only way. In that situation, if you really want this person, if you really think you're meant to be together, this is the path to do it. Now, you can choose to take a different path. You can be like, nah, that person's not worth it. I'm moving on, right? We dated a few times. They were not that hot anyways. I'm moving on, right? So yes, you can totally choose to move on. But if you really want this to work, this is the path. And yes, it's a gamble. It's a risk. And this whole class, you're going to see more and more how love is the biggest risk you will ever take. It's a risk. It's a very risky investment. This is what I'm going to teach you because we have the mentality, it has to be safe before I invest. And then we never invest, right? In this class, you're going to really learn to walk on a tightrope, right? It is a risk and you have to decide, right? Is this person worth the risk or should I move on? And at times you will decide, well, we've dated a few times. I don't know. I think I'm ready to move on, and you'll move on, and that's fine. But if you look at this, if you have decided that this person is worth the risk, then this is the best case scenario to draw them to you, right? If you decide to do that, but it's up to you, obviously. What you decide to do. Yes.
Question. So to confirm, basically it starts off how she was deeply in love and controlling of the person, but then she saw that he was the type of person who was like looking at other women, and she kind of didn't like that. So when she decided to let go and see what happened, he would come back to her.
It's more than letting go. She's also consistent in her feelings, right? There's two things, right? Make sure you guys get this down. She lets him go, but it's not enough to let go. I can let you go and be like, you know what, the hell with you, and I'm gonna move on, right? So she's letting go, but at the same time, she's maintaining her commitment to this person until, of course, right? The cutoff. I think you would ask, well, when do we stop? This question comes up all the time. When do we stop doing this, right? And this is the risk. You will see the person themselves. You will see the way they are acting, and you will know, okay, it's time to move on, or it's time to right? You will see whether they're coming or running even further away, right? So you are in a way gauging, but there is something very profound and beautiful in the ability to commit and take that risk, even though there is no safe investment. This is the craziness of love, right? This is also the profundity of love. It's both crazy and profound, and this is what she's doing. And in this particular situation, it does create a path for him to come back, right? Yes. Zero.
Isn't it like send the wrong message? Like, because it seems like it's like giving the idea that women are supposed to still be committed, even though he's like clearly hurting her.
All right, this is a good question. So again, I want to emphasize in this text, they're switching around all the time, so we can flip it. This is for both, right? The man too can be in a situation where the woman is not sure, she's wishy-washy, and she's, playing the field, looking at other guys, calling, an ex, whatever. So this is for, right, in this text, this is in general, in fact, in the Hebrew Bible, and this is good to know, there are no gender roles. Gender is fluid in the Hebrew Bible. You have men who are acting like, quote unquote, women who are very emotional, and then you have women who have roles of men who fight wars, who are judges, right? So in the Bible in general, it's very interesting. The roles are fluid. There is no fixed man, woman should do this, man should do that. They're constantly switching around and breaking all of the stereotypes. Specifically in this text, she initiates, he initiates, right? She runs after him, he runs after her, she waits, he waits. So anytime I'm saying here in this context, she's the one waiting, but you can flip it and see the man waiting. And same thing, same technique, right? But in this particular moment, she's the one waiting, right? Does that make sense? So yes, we can flip this, absolutely. It's COVID, yeah. It's not manipulation, I'll tell you why, because she's out of control. It's not in her, the surrender part is showing at that moment that she has really lost the control over the situation. She's completely surrendered. I am yours, right? And so manipulation would be playing hard to get and still having the grasping attitude, I need to get you, and this is how I'm gonna do it. Here she has lost that. She's like, I'm gonna open myself up to whatever happens. I'm gonna love you inside, I'm not even telling you, right? And I'm gonna surrender you. So it would be manipulation if there wasn't this complete surrender going on, right? And this huge risk she's taking. Manipulation, there is no risk. I got all my bases covered. I have plan B, C, D, X, Y, Z, right? Here she's really, she might lose everything. This is very far from manipulation, right? Let's see. Nora and then C and then the rest of you.
It's a little conflicting because I kind of agree with you that it is a bit of a mixed signal. On one hand, it is good to say that love shouldn't be as obsessive and possessive as humans being, but at the same time, it's also teaching to be so patient with love. Love, even if they're not showing you commitment, even if they're not giving you the same thing back. And I don't know if I really agree with that message.
No, I agree with you. This is not an easy path, right? The path of love is the narrow path, right? And we're going to see more and more of this we tend to think of love, we see movies and love tastes so sweet in the movies. Actually, love is not supposed to taste sweet, right? Love is it can be very challenging, right? In fact, it is the biggest challenge, I believe, that we have been given as human beings is to learn to love another human being. So for sure, it's not comfortable, and your discomfort is perfect, right? It is uncomfortable. It is a risk. And yet it's a question you have to ask yourself, how deeply do I want to love in my life, right? All of you should ask yourself this question, how deeply do I want to love in my life? And the answer to this is how ready I am to take this enormous risk, right? So you have to ask yourself, so we can totally love, but we don't need to go too deep, right? You have to ask yourself, how deeply do I want to have love, right? Even if it doesn't work out. When we get to Kierkegaard, we're going to see this even more powerfully, this notion of how deeply do I want to live my life? How deeply do I want to enter into life? And how deeply do I want to love? So this is a question you have to ask yourself. As we go through the class, I'm glad you're mentioning your discomfort. This is a question you will ask yourself, well, do I want to go all the way like this? Or do I want to stay on the shore and dip my feet in occasionally, right? It's your choice. So there's nothing wrong with dipping your feet in occasionally, right? At the same time, you have to ask yourself, is there ever going to be a moment where I really set sail, right? And I guess that would be, she's setting sail. She's crazy, right? When I look at her, I am scared for her. If she was my daughter, I would be like so stressed, right? But this is why she's celebrated in this text, I believe, is that even though she's reckless and she makes all kinds of mistakes and she's suffering, she's so in it that the author can't help but be amazed at the beauty of her being so in it, right? She really goes all the way. And there is a beauty, even though it's reckless and it can be messy, this author is telling us there's something profoundly beautiful in the ability to go all the way in love, right? And then, of course, we have to learn how to do it artfully. And I think, Nora, what you will benefit from is learning how to do that. But just in itself, the act of going in completely is so beautiful. And the author, and this is a celebration of that, right? This is why she is celebrated even more than the man in the story, because the man is he's careful, she's not, right? Does that answer a little bit your question?
It wasn't really a question, it was just my
A comment.
opinion on it, because, I don't know, while I agree with you, say it is a risk, and it's saying, you say in response that we have to decide how deeply we love. I don't think it's all about that, though. I think that, while it's great to love someone as deeply as she has without reservation, right? I think at a point, if you love him and you love him and you love him, and you have to, I think it's a long time to hold out.
Oh, yeah, well, if he's not coming back, that's a different story. Then you're kind of like, thank you. There's like waiting for a little bit for creating the conditions for them to come back. And then this guy's married 3 times and you're still waiting. No, right? If the guy has moved on or the girl has moved on, that's the signal, right? That you can move on, right? So this is a situation where it's ambiguous. When it stops being ambiguous, please do not do this, right? The guy's married with kids and you're like, my beloved is my, no, that's not healthy, right? But as long as the situation is ambiguous, right? This is the course of action that might attract commitment. Now, if the person has clearly moved on, it is time for you to move on. I'll just say it, right? Does that help now? Are you better?
I guess. I'm still not fully on board.
Yes, it's very uncomfortable. I agree with you. Yes, go ahead.
Is it that's why the author ended this text in "Hurry, my love, run away, my gazelle, my wild stag on the hills of cinnamon" to like show that she's letting go and seeing what can happen?
I was going to bring up that passage actually. Thank you. Right. Look at the end. Right. Look at the beginning and look at the end. This is so interesting. Look at her in the beginning. I was going to mention this next time, but we can do it now. In the beginning, she's like, kiss me with the kisses of your mouth. Like this woman, she wants this guy so bad, right? She's aggressively pursuing him. And in the end, last passage, right? Look at page, whatever.
117.
Thank you, 117. Hurry, my love, run away, my gazelle, right? She's saying, be free. Run. And by the way, this terrible translation, run away, it's actually run towards yourself, right? That's the actual Hebrew, lech lecha, go towards yourself. What she's telling him is, it's, I am letting, sometimes this will happen. This is a really profound moment in the text. It will happen in a relationship that your partner needs to go away to find themselves, right? They have been absorbed by the relationship. They have lost their identity. And this can happen to both men and women. I have a friend, a woman friend, after 20 years of marriage, she divorced. Why? She had lost herself in the marriage and she needed to go towards herself. And the guy is still struggling with letting her go. But the text here is saying there are moments in a relationship where your partner will need to leave you, not because they don't love you, but because they have lost themselves and they need to find themselves. And the grace to let them go, while perhaps holding them still in your heart until you see what actually happens. I'm still thinking of Knorr here, right? And we have to be careful not to become stalkers. But this is what she's doing. She's able to set him free. And this is, I think, the most, this is how you can see that she is maturing as a woman, right? She's able to love while letting go, right? That is the key here in this passage. Was there not? Yes, oh, sorry.
I was wondering, when does seduction become just like lack of communication? And like being, like not being a great communicator is usually like seen as something bad. And seduction is seen as something desirable and good. What's like the difference?
So you can see how they don't communicate very well, right? We're going to see that next time when we talk about how they miss each other, when he's knocking at her door and she doesn't open on time and he's gone. This is perfect lack of communication. So it's a good question, because what we're going to learn is that bad communication is inherent to relationships. it is part of being with somebody who is so different from you, and how to navigate that, right? We have to learn that. But yes, they have poor communication all along. And this is not a book which will tell you, sit down in front of each other and then do active listening, right? This is a book that will accept that there's poor communication, and now what do you do with that without taking it away? It's going to stay. Right? How do you live with that? And we're actually going to talk about that next time. Yes.
So question. So it's the question saying, how does one attract commitment according to Song of Songs? Is there like
this is for you to figure out on your own. That's a
never
test
mind.
question. Is trying to
Okay.
get the answer. I'm not going to give you the answer.
Okay.
Yes, that's fine.
There's a flaw in our whole process. That is, there's no safety valve for herself. If the guy leaves, that's it. She's done. If this whole plan blows up in her face, if she lets go like this at the same time of being committal and letting go, that means she's taken all the control away from herself, any of it. And you need some, because, or else how are you going to control? You need to control some aspect of the relationship, or else you're just along for the ride.
Do you need to control some aspect? Can you control love, right? When we do Rumi, it's going to be frightening, because it is going to really emphasize the way that love is really out of our control. We can attract, we can create the conditions of possibility, we can create the right climate, but there is never, what we're going to learn, especially in Rumi, we can never make the thing happen. This is what's so scary about love, why so many of us prefer not to love. Yes.
My point was that he could take her for a ride for a long time, and she would just be stuck there because of her method of, you can be hands off, but I'm still going for him. She's caught in this catch-22 that unless he agrees, she's stuck until he leaves.
Yeah, which is why
if he continues in this state as he was in the middle of maybe yes, maybe no, she's just stuck. There's no safety valve for her to cut it off. She has put all her love and all her faith in this guy. If she would lose that now, that would be too much.
Would it be a loss, though, to have loved in that way once in your life? What do you think?
Better to love and lost and not loved at all.
Yeah.
That's an opinion. That's not definitive. That's not true.
No, it's not definitive, but this is a hard lesson. I agree with you. I would hesitate too before following this. I mean, it's not advice, it's kind of giving us a story, right, of how she, survived the hurdles of infidelity. So it's giving us some of the things she learned. Doesn't mean we're going to have to face infidelity, doesn't mean that we're going to be with someone like that. But if we are, what can we do? I think this is what this is about. This is not about, she's not giving us laws, right? She's not saying you have to do this anytime. This is, if you choose to give this person a chance, here's the best case scenario. You don't have to choose that at all, right? You can tell. So remember, this text is not prescriptive. She's not saying this is how you should love at all times, right? This is not, remember, this is wisdom literature. She's not here giving us commandments, right? But she's saying, if you want to give this person a chance in the ambiguity that you are in, here's the best case scenario. If you think that this is not worth it, that you don't want to do that, that's fine too, right? There's nothing against cutting off and being smart and being like, well, until you know, and actually it's really good advice. Sometimes it's very good to say, well, until you know, I'm gonna go do my thing, right? And you can actually still be like that and do that, right? She doesn't tell him, it's in her heart, right? And at any time.
That's what traps her.
But
she did tell him she'd be better off.
That might be true, This is good, very good reaction. Yes, you're really tasting the recklessness of this woman. She's reckless throughout. She's reckless when she begins, during, and after, right? Yes.
So it's not really like a definitive purpose to why she's doing certain things. There could be like many reasons to why she's letting go and to why he's acting certain ways. That's how they're like showing their commitment per se.
What do you mean?
So for example, she loved him in the beginning, right? And then when he started showing signs, I'm going to look at other women, she realized that she doesn't want to be hurt, so she's going to let him go. That can mean certain reasons to why she's acting that way?
Not quite catching your question. Does anyone understand his question? Can you tell me? Come after class.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, good. Yes.
think it remains to be said that standards of the time was different. When the book was written, infidelity in males was seen as, at least in Eastern culture, it was seen as more commonplace and more acceptable. More, the female has to accept it in some form. I think that's, that is part of this book.
Be careful though, because there was very strict commands about infidelity, right? In the Hebrew Bible, at least, it was not okay. But here, by the way, they're not married, so there's no infidelity,
There was no,
right? In this context, you're only unfaithful when there's a marriage. They're not married, so anything goes. I mean, she's the one choosing to be with this guy before, right, the covenant. So here we cannot talk in this context, in the biblical context of infidelity. In our culture, yeah, but here it's not considered infidelity.
But like what I wanted to say was that in order for you to choose to take this risk, you have to understand that the person that that you're taking the risk for has to be worth it. Even if it doesn't pay off, then it has to be worth it in a way for you.
That's the idea, right? You have to ask yourself: do I want to make this work? If I do, here's the path. If I don't think this is worth it, then by all means, right, move on, like Epstein is suggesting, right? Very good. Okay, so hopefully you got the two things that she's doing. This is very important, and the way that she's able to hold both, right? To be able to love while letting go is really here the action. There's a beautiful a proverb which says, "If you love someone, set them free." Help me out with the end. Yes, if they come back, they were meant to be, and if they don't, wait. If they come back, they are yours, and if they don't, then it was never meant to be, right? This is the idea here, right? If you love someone, set them free. If they come back, then they are yours forever, and if they don't worry, they were never meant to be, right? So this is kind of what she's doing. She's setting the person free. She's open for whatever happens. And I think, she, even though in her heart she's consistent, right? She's still able in her behavior to set both her and him free, right? Okay, good. Next time we're going to talk about, so next time I want you to focus on chapter 4 and 5. Okay, just redo, you have to read the whole thing again, right? So redo the assignment, but this time focus on chapters 4 and 5, because we're gonna be looking at that. This is when they miss each other, and I'm going to be studying what can we learn from this terrible failure of communication, to use Osorio's expression. And then we're going to talk about grace in the Song of Songs. Yes.
So for the reading assignment for next week, mainly 4 and 5, or you still want the whole thing?
Yeah, just 4 and 5.
Just 4 and 5?